Okay, is it running?
Just give it 1 minute.
Can you retry, Throya?
Okay, you can start now.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new Pro-Mercurian meeting. I would like to welcome all of you, guys. Excuse me, I won't be naming all of you because we have plenty of guests today, but we are so happy to have you in our meeting today. And Muhammad, I wish you the best of luck in your speech today. As you know, in Mercury, and as most of Toastmasters Club, there are some rules that we should be abiding by. The first rule is, as you know, we are an English club. So please make sure that you are using your English language while you speak. Number two, please make sure not to use any offensive or any things that might bother others that are the topic of religion, sex, etc. Please avoid them as much as you can. And third, as Madam President has said to us, this meeting will be live streamed and recorded. So if you have any issue with that, with the meeting being recorded, please reach out to me on the private messages and I will have your part deleted. Now, I won't be talking the whole session. I would like to hand the stage to our lovely president, to Thuraya Nasser. Thuraya.
Thank you so much, Roland. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Mercury Toastmaster meeting. I would like to call this meeting to start. Okay, so before we begin with our official meeting, I would like to share with you a small story. So recently, we moved into our new offices at work, and they made a small canteen for us to have our lunch there, where we could order food through an app. We would simply log in and order food for the entire day, for the entire week. And when we wanted to have lunch, we would just go up to the lady in the canteen, where we would just say our name, and she would prepare the food for us and serve it to us. So that's what happened the first day I ordered food from the canteen. I went up to that lady and I told her, my name is Suraya. And she was like, okay, you have one chicken Alfredo. I went and took the dish and I proceeded to eat. The next day, I went up to that lady, and before I could even speak, she said, Suraya Nasir, right? I was like, yes. And she proceeded to serve me the dish. Now, I was surprised for a second because I didn't how could she remember my name? After one time saying it, and she's seen hundreds of faces during one day. And I thought to myself, maybe my name is not very common, so she remembers it. I walked to my table and I was surprised to see that my colleagues as well were very surprised because the same thing happened to them. This lady managed to memorize every single person in the company just after one interaction with them. And honestly, she blew our mind. This lady is an exceptional one. She refused to settle for the bare minimum of her job description. She decided to exceed expectations and to make the experience of everyone in the company as smooth and easy as possible. And she made our lunching experience very pleasant. This is the definition of true leadership. Because leaders, they don't go around and boss people and tell them what to do. Leaders do not settle for the bare minimum. Leaders go out there and they try to pursue excellence. And they try to make the life of others as easy and as smooth as possible. And in fact, this is what we do at Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an international organization whose mission is to provide a very pleasant and a friendly, supportive environment for people to develop their public speaking and leadership skills, and a space free of judgment, and with support from the community itself. We have clubs all over the world, and all of them function pretty much the same way. In Lebanon, we have 5 clubs. We have speakers and leaders in AUB. We have Protost in Beirut. We have loudspeakers in Zoom Kail. We have DOD, which is the first Arabic-speaking Toastmaster club. And finally, last but not least, we have Mercury, in which we're meeting today. And all of us, we have this educational program from Toastmasters International that helps us become the better speaker and leader that we want to be. This program is called Pathways. There are 11 paths. You choose a path based on what type of public speaker or leader you ought to be. So you fill like a small survey that helps you decide once you join. And then you start working on projects with a mentor. Those projects are tailored to help you achieve this goal. Now, without further ado, we can discuss more during the meeting. But today, we have this meeting, we have a special meeting in which one of our fellow Pro-Toasters is delivering one of his projects in our club. It's a very special project where we have 2 beautiful guests with us, panelists. So I'm very excited, honestly. And now I won't be leading this meeting. We have a very professional Toastmaster of the meeting who will be leading it. Help me welcome on stage our ex-Vice President of Membership, ex-Treasurer, and our current Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Roland Achar. Roland, the stage is yours.
Who might be? It might be the future president. Anyway, I would like to welcome all of you, our fellow Toastmasters and well-beloved guests, to this meeting. Let me break it down to you in a simple way. This meeting will be divided into 3 parts. The first part, which is the prepared speech or the prepared project, will be moderated by our one and only guest, Muhammad Khalaf. He will be taking this part. The second part of the meeting will be table topics, in which it is the impromptu session. That is a person that has a question already prepared, asks you who would like to participate some questions, and you will have 2 minutes to answer. And at the end, there is the evaluation session. That is, every single person who took the stage during this meeting will get a professional evaluation. All right? Now, as you know, as any successful leader, I have like a board council or helpers today. Our first, okay, I hope that you can see me well. Our first leader who will be helping me today is our timer, who is Ria. Ria, can you hear me? Ria, can you hear me? That's 1, that's 2. And as great leaders do, I can't unmute.
Okay, now I can.
Okay, please, Ria, explain your role and tell us how much time will Muhammad be having during his project.
Hello, everyone. So, you know, as leaders, we need to commit to time. This is why we have the timer. So, Muhammad, you will have 30 minutes in order to deliver your speech. The light will turn green at 20 minutes, then it will turn orange at 25 minutes, and it will turn red at 30 minutes. Best of luck.
Thank you, Ria. And before jumping to the, I want to say I'm so enthusiastic about the project, but before jumping in, I would like to introduce the evaluator of this project. That is, if I'm not mistaken, this is Threya, Madam President.
Yes. So good evening again, Muhammad. The project that you are about to present today is mainly the panel discussion. It's to moderate a panel discussion. Now, what is the purpose of this project? The purpose is to apply your skills as a public speaker and leader in order to facilitate a panel discussion. What do you have to do? Of course, there are some things that you have to prepare before the panel discussion, some time for preparation and organizing this discussion. And during the meeting, you will have to moderate this discussion between the two panelists and direct it in certain ways. And then finally, there will be a question and answer section where you get to interact with the guests. Honestly, I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and I can't wait to hear from our panelists for today. I'm so excited. So let's get to it. Back to you, Roland. Are you with us, Roland?
I think he's having Wi-Fi issues.
Yes. Okay. So I think we can move on to the panel discussion while we wait for Roland, just not to waste any more time. So, Hamad Khalaf, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Soraya. Thank you. First of all, let me just spotlight our speakers. All right. This way everybody can see them. There you go. And can you guys see everybody spotlighted? Is Noah spotlighted, by the way?
Not yet.
At the spotlight. Okay, there we go. All right, perfect. All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. How are you? First of all, Roland and Soraya, thank you very much for this lovely and welcoming introduction. Listen, everyone, I am as excited as you guys are to, listen to our panel discussion today. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be so valuable. But before we start, I want to know a little bit more about you guys. All right, so the audience, I want you to do me a favor and type in the chat. Type in the chat your name, type in what you do, and then why you're here today, all right? Because we want to know a little bit more about you. So I'm gonna give you 10 seconds, all right? There you go, 1, 10, that's it. No, I'm joking with you guys. I'm gonna give you the 10 seconds for you to, all right, come on, type in the chat. Let us know who you guys are. So what's your name? What do you guys do? And basically, why are you here for today? Let's go. Let's go to Roland. He's a 24/7 learner. All right. Come on, where's the excitement, guys? I'm waiting for you. Sebastian, work in tourism because you want to improve public speaking. All right, you're in the right place, Sebastian. Guys, while we're waiting for everyone to write their answers, here's what I have to tell you. During the weekend, I wanted to update my knowledge a little bit about public speaking. And Google is your mother, basically. So I opened my laptop and I started typing stats on public speaking. And lo and behold, what I find is the typical answer, 8 out of 10 people are afraid of public speaking. But I wasn't really surprised because, I already knew that. What I was looking for was something a little bit more specific, and that's how public speaking can impact our career. And so I did some little research and I stumbled upon some new information. And when I did, I read it, and then I read it again, and then I read it a third time and a fourth time, just to make sure that what I was reading was legit, like it was right. And here's what I discovered. I discovered that if you are afraid of public speaking, then you are decreasing your income by at least, or an average of 10%. Let me illustrate that a little bit. If you're making $40,000 a year, you can make up to 44,000, 44, if you work on your communication skills. So that's a 10% increase in your annual salary, simply by learning one skill. Now, here's the thing. This is not just for public speakers. This is for everyone. If you're a founder, you want to get some funding. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to get more sales. If you're salespeople, you want to get more sales, right? You want to close more deals. If you're in marketing or an advertiser or even a consultant and you simply want to persuade more people. And finally, if you're just looking to grow your network, here's what you have to do. You simply have to learn public speaking. And that is exactly what this panel is about. All right. This panel, the aim of it is for you to learn how to get started building the skill of public speaking, how to implement it in your career, and finally, how to monetize it, right? And we will talk about this for 30 minutes again. Then we will have a 10-minute short Q&A for you guys to ask your questions. So start writing them down. Listen, the most value that you guys will get is not from me. It's basically from our panelists today. And well, both of them are amazing speakers. Both of them are extremely successful entrepreneurs. And most importantly, both of them come from two different places when it comes to, how they started, what their experience is. And I think that by itself is extremely rich, and it's a lot for us to learn today, right? And so let me introduce them to you. On one hand, we have Noah Merabi. Noah is an award-winning speaker. He has over 300,000 students online. He is the CEO of Learnus Academy, which is an e-learning platform. And he also earned the 2 Comma Club recognition from ClickFunnels. And on the other hand, we have Maria Saab. And Maria is a human optimization and a high-performance coach. She is Power Voice certified from Les Brown. And for those of you guys who don't know who Les Brown is, that's one of the most amazing speakers in the world. And last but not least, she is Mind Valley certified. She's a Mind Valley certified life coach and a 6-phase meditation trainer. So look at all those credentials, look at what they have to offer. So I'm not gonna waste a lot more time. Here's what I have to say. We're gonna jump straight into the discussion. Noah, Maria, how are you guys?
Hello, thank you for the introduction.
Thank you.
We're good, excited, and super ready to learn from each other, not just, give the value that we have to give.
100%. All right, so here's what I'm gonna say. You both started as speakers, right? Both of you had a different journey. And there are many ways someone could start their journey in public speaking. So my question to you is this: how did you guys get started? And what do you think is the best way for someone to start developing the skill of public speaking? All right. I'm going to repeat that question. So how did you guys get started in public speaking? And what do you think is the best way for someone to start developing that skill? All right. How about we start with you, Noah?
Sure. So initially how it started is I was, and I still am, somewhat of an introvert. And birds of a feather flock together. If you're an introvert, you're going to tend to hang out with other introverts. And then it's a whole snowball of introverted people. And it doesn't really add a lot of value to your communication. Majority of extremely talented speakers are extroverted people. So that's when Google came in handy. I did some research about public speaking. I was in Ottawa. I was going to the university back then. And I stumbled upon this club called Toastmasters. I thought the name was pretty funny, weird, but I thought it was interesting. I went to my first meeting and I thought it was pretty interesting, went again and again and again. 4 months after joining the club, I started my first speech competition and it kind of just started rolling from there. So for anybody who wants to improve their communication skill, their leadership skills, their public speaking skills, find a Toastmaster club. They're everywhere in the world. Find one close to you. There's even ones online. You can join it from anywhere in the world and get started. Back to you.
All right. Well, thank you for that insight. I know. I also, took that path myself, but I'm pretty sure there are other paths as well. I mean, Maria took a completely different approach to this, and she had her own journey, right? So I'm interested to know a little bit more about that, Maria. What is a different approach, and how did you get where you are today?
Well, first, I'm an extrovert. I'm the extrovert of extroverts. So ever since I was a kid, I've always been surrounded with people. I surround myself with people. I love to talk to people. I just get my friends, put them together, and then start teaching them on the board stuff and start, calling out that an old guy passing down the street, talking to him. So I wanted to talk to people, be around people all the time. And what started as public speaking as it in itself, for me, I started in Model United Nations as a delegate, and then as a trainer, and then as a trainer for trainers. And what clicked for me and where I knew that this was I want to do this for the rest of my life was when I was a trainer and I was training middle school students. I was looking at them while I was speaking, and I saw their eyes widen a little more. And it was like they were hearing something for the first time and they were in awe. And I felt that I stretched that person. And that's when I knew I want to do this for the rest of my life. And then simultaneously, I got into other leadership programs, entrepreneurship programs. I started to host, I started to pitch and things like that. So it's something that I'm so passionate about. I love it so much. I love to share knowledge. And if someone wants to start on that journey, to me, put yourself out there. It doesn't have to start in front of an audience. You can talk to your friends, you can talk to your family, you can what is that message that you have that you want to deliver to other people, and start practicing that in front of the mirror, in front of friends. It doesn't have to be an audience, and by itself it's going to grow more and more if you truly love that. So that's my story.
That's really nice to hear, actually. And I know for a fact that what you just said, I mean, when you listen to people, when you see people, when you see light in people's eyes, that's just by itself is a great feeling. So as you guys, as we know, that public speaking is a skill, right? Although a lot of people, argue that perhaps it's innate, perhaps it's not, right? And as we just saw, I mean, one of you is an introvert, the other is an extrovert, and although both of you did work a lot on their skill, I mean, although both of you are really good at what you're doing, I mean, you still had to work on that skill, and that's what got you to where you are right now. Which brings me to my second question. I mean, it's just a skill like any other skill you learn in life. It has its ups, it has its downs, it has its frustrations, but it also comes with exponential growth. So there must have been a point, however, where something held you back, right? Something did not allow you to be great, in a sense. So the question is, what was that one thing that held you back, right? What was that one thing, and how did you manage to break that barrier and move into growth? Maria, would you like to answer that question first?
Sure. This is actually one of my field of expertise. I coach people through that, whatever stops us, because, and I'm able to do that because I went through this myself. Limiting beliefs can stop us big time. Our unconscious limiting beliefs can stop us big time from going after our full potential and doing what we love to do. What do I mean by limiting beliefs? It's those thoughts of, I'm not good enough, I'm not loved, I'm not seen, I'm not understood, I'm not heard. And all of those that are learned, not born. We're not born with them because we are born loved and enough and heard and seen and understood. We are born like that. But as we go through life, we start building those layers from either experiences or from someone said something to us at some point, or because something happened to us and then we took on an identity. And so those, to me, it was my limiting belief of, I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not going to be good enough to do that. Maybe someone's better than me at that. Maybe, I don't know, but I knew within me that I had something I wanted to share. So to feel that you have something you want to share, and then to have that unconscious limiting belief stopping you of, no, that might not be good enough. Oh, that's a struggle. So for me, I did go on my own journey of proving myself wrong, of unlearning all of the things that I've learned in my life. And I did my own coaching as well to help me remove those limiting beliefs even faster than just working on them on my own. And now I help other people do that.
All right, that's amazing. I mean, so you just simply had to have that faith and then move forward, despite the fact that you knew there could be failures along the way, right? Noah, I think I mean, I think you definitely agree with that. But what do you think? What do you think from your own perspective, right? From your own experience, how did you manage to break that limiting belief? What was it, Aslan, in the first place?
The main issue for me, and I think for anybody who's trying to achieve greatness, is not able to, kind of relates to what Maria was saying, is the man or the woman in the mirror. It's the person that stares back at you when you look in the mirror. It's yourself. So there's a very famous quote by Nietzsche that says there are no facts, only interpretation. People take other people's opinions as facts, but there are no facts, only interpretations. You interpret these and turn them into facts based on your own personal anecdotes. But in reality, if you actually look in the mirror and you have a little conversation with the person staring back at you, you can go back and forth and you can kind of communicate and argue that maybe those are not facts. I know Maria is Les Brown certified. One of the most amazing things he says, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And unfortunately, a lot of the things that happen often is people take other people's opinion for reality. And I took other people's opinion for reality when I had evaluations, and people would absolutely destroy me during the evaluation. You got to work on this, got to work on this, got to work on that. And even though it's helpful, it's constructive criticism. But for somebody who's already having some kind of insecurity towards speaking, this is a big slap in the face. You're like, oh, they're right. I need to work on 100 different things. Maybe I'm not that good. Maybe that's not what I'm meant to do. No. That's an interpretation. It's not a fact. Because if you work on yourself and you work on your skills for a full year, and then you ask yourself the question again, you're going to have a completely different answer, right? So this is the main thing that stopped me and that stops everybody from going to the next level. It's the person that stares back at you when you're looking in the mirror. Until you conquer that person, and again, ties back to what Maria was saying, you're trying to conquer those limiting beliefs 100%. Once you conquer those, you can move into the next step. Back to you, Hamad.
There's something I want to share before you go, Hamad. Relating back to what Noah was saying, there's something that Marissa Peer says, that the images that you create in your mind and the stories that you tell yourself create your reality. But the power here is that we are able to change the images we have in our minds and change the stories and the narratives that we have in our minds as well. And we can ultimately change our reality to create whatever we want to create. So 100%, exactly what Noah was saying. It's so powerful. And here we get to realize the power that we have on our reality, not just the power of what other people say about our reality.
Yep. So basically the law of attraction is true, isn't it? So would you, I just have a question for you, Noah. So just commenting on what you said, would you say that you were harsh on yourself throughout that journey?
Yeah, very, very. I live in Canada. It gets cold during winter in Lebanon, but it doesn't get to -40. When I was doing my international speech competition, I had to repeat it. I was living in a dorm with 12 other people. I could not repeat my speech at home. I could not practice it. I had to literally wear my coat, go out -40, walking in the park, repeating my speech. You have to be harsh on yourself. If you're not harsh on yourself and you don't get yourself into the state of discomfort, you're not going to grow. So you kind of have to.
True, 100%. Maria, do you have something to add on that, or should we move to the next question?
I think there's a fine line between being harsh on yourself to get yourself in an uncomfortable position and to make the unfamiliar familiar, and where you start to be too harsh on yourself, where you higher up the volume of that self-critic that you have within yourself that can always ask more of you and take away the focus on the task you have at hand. So I think the focus here is super important, that what am I trying to achieve? What are the ways to get me there? And then build up on that, instead of just keep criticizing yourself just for the sake of, you need to be doing more, achieving more, giving more, instead of focusing on what you have to do right now. Because I deal with that as well. I can be harsh on myself as well. So I can understand the difference between both.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, it's that fine line between knowing what to focus on, basically, and how to move forward, not just simply be unhealthy with who you are. So let's just here's the thing. What we know is that over the last 3 years, things changed, right? With the arrival of COVID, I mean, the industry has shifted in a sense, and the way we communicated, it became different. We went digital in a sense, but statistics still showed that public speaking anxiety and that video chat created somewhat of a friction between people. What I'm interested in knowing, and I guess the audience is as well, is that how did you guys adapt to that? I mean, you guys do public speaking literally almost every single day, and it doesn't have to be purely public speaking. It could be through your courses, through your clients, through whatever it is that you do, right? You constantly communicate. How did you guys adapt to that change? What do you guys think is better? Do you think it's better that perhaps we switch back to physical communication fully, or is it better, that we find that balance between the physical and digital? Right. I mean, right now we're doing this on Zoom, so kind of an ironic question to ask. Noah, what do you think of that?
It's a difficult question to tackle because there's a lot of pros and cons. As you were saying, we're hosting it on Zoom right now with people from all over the world. That's something that you can't really do if you're having a physical meeting. At the same time, Zoom takes the human element out of those meetings. There's a very big difference. You can hear somebody present a speech over Zoom and you'll give him a 5, 6 over 10. You hear it in person just through the body language, through the emotion, the vocal projection, everything, and you give them a 9. So the human element is very important. I don't think we can take it out of the equation entirely. I think a mix or a balance between both would be the best way to go.
And Maria, what is your take on that?
I completely agree with the balance. To me, nothing beats human connection. And the power of collective energy in one room is super important, not just when the speaker is present, but when people are present together, taking in the information, shifting through transformations and just changing something within them. They resonate a certain kind of energy that can impact the people within the same room. So the digital industry takes that away, but of course it gives us a voice to reach out to bigger number of people and to more platforms and an international voice if you want. And it's something that I appreciate, but it was something actually that was new that I had to face when this started, because I've always said to myself that public speaking is my comfort zone. It's something that I love to do. I'm so passionate about this. But then every time I had to shoot myself saying, I had to shoot a video of myself for social media, I felt super uncomfortable. It's not because of the talking, it's because I want to connect to people. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I want to connect to people. I want to see their faces. I want to see their eyes. I want to see their smiles. I want to see their bodily reactions. I don't want to talk to a screen or to a camera and just, it's not going to be as real as it would be if I was talking in front of people. So this is my issue when it comes to that. Yeah, but a mix of both is definitely necessary.
100%. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Nothing beats human connection, like both of you just said. So let me just shift the conversation a little bit and just go into the entrepreneurship side of things. So, public speaking is a vital skill to have, right? Warren Buffett says that if you want to increase your value as a human being in the workforce, then by at least 50%, then you have to learn communication, you have to learn public speaking. And he actually said, told people that, advised people to join a Toastmasters club. So the question is, how did you guys manage to capitalize on your skills, on your communication skills more specifically? How did you guys manage to monetize that thing? And if someone would want to follow your steps, what practical advice would you guys give them? Right, Maria, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. I think there are a lot of ways where you can monetize your public speaking skills. It's whether by creating, as a public speaker, you can create workshops, you can give talks, you can give trainings. As a coach, I use that in my coaching sessions. I use that in my training sessions for corporations or individuals or companies. And you can also create online courses, because the way that you talk is what attracts people. When you use it on social media, you want to capture the audience's attention in 3 seconds. And if you have good communication skills, it's going to be pretty easy for you to do that. And I want to relate also to the story that you were sharing, to the study that you were sharing about the 10% increase in revenue. I want to share a story about something that happened to me, how that got me, my communication skills got me opportunities by just using my communication skills. So I was at an event last month, and I was just, being myself, talking to people, communicating with everyone. And just by that, without anyone knowing anything about my background, without anyone knowing anything about what I did, who I am, blah, 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 I had job opportunities just approaching me because of the way that I was talking, not because of, oh, what have you done in your life? No, I want that energy. I want that level of understanding to people. I want that tone of voice. So communication is super important, because at the end of the day, you're not dealing with numbers. You're not dealing with, you're dealing with individuals. You're dealing with humans. So if you want to grow any kind of business, you need to start speaking the language of the people for you to be able to get more people on board. If you don't do that, if you treat them like numbers, they're only going to come and then go. You're not going to retain those people, create a community beyond that.
And so basically just being yourself and communicating mostly all the time, that's what's going to get you there.
For sure.
Noah, I know like perhaps you got you monetized that maybe differently. What was the steps that you took, right? What were the steps that you took and for you to monetize that skill?
I was a pretty bad speaker when I started, and I'm not even kidding. If I show you guys videos from the first courses I made, it's literally annoying. I can't listen to that anymore. The big step was repetition, harnessing your skills. So I took a bunch of speeches, some of the greatest speeches, Martin Luther King, Les Brown, Eric Thomas, TD Jakes, and I would just recreate the speech for fun, nothing else. I would literally get the transcript and I would recreate the speech. I would do it over and over and over and over again. They say repetition or practice makes perfect. No, it doesn't. Perfection is a lie. Nothing that we do perfectly today, we can't improve tomorrow. So I realized early on that, okay, I'm going to keep repeating so I can improve my skills. Once I got to a level where people would start asking me, where did you learn how to teach? I'm like, I didn't learn how to teach. I just learned how to talk, how to communicate. I started drifting into making online courses. And I found that a lot of people had good reviews. They're like, the instructor is engaging, yada, yada, yada. And I started developing more on it. And that's pretty much it. I started diversifying a bit more into YouTube and creating, giving these videos a little bit of a twist, because the biggest issue with the digital communication is you can't emphasize emotion the way you can emphasize it in person. So the way to do it is by adding music to the videos, adding some video transitions in between to kind of transition that feeling to the people. And that worked pretty well. 300,000 students so far on Udemy, and it's wrapping up. So we'll see where it's going to be in a few years.
Hopefully, I wish both of you actually the best of luck in your journey as well. So it's amazing to see how different approaches gets you different opportunities, and it opens a lot of horizons for you. It's phenomenal how that one skill can translate into anywhere in life. Now I want to challenge you guys, right? I want to put you in a hypothetical scenario, right? So suppose someone today comes to you and asks you to give a 20-minute speech, right? Give a 20-minute keynote speech in about 2 hours from now. What would you say? Would you say yes? And why would you say yes? Or would you say no? And then why would you say no? Right? If someone were to put you in that position right now, what would you do, Maria?
I would definitely say yes. Why? Why would I do that? The most powerful effect that you have when you're public speaking, the most powerful tool that you can use when you're public speaking is when you speak from the heart and when you speak your truth, because this resonates so loudly. When you're passionate about something, when you know your stuff, when you know what you talk about, when you know your message, you can get up on stage at any point and just talk about that. And because you know it and you feel it and you live it and you breathe it at some point, that energy is gonna not even need practice. It's gonna get out of you. You know how when you're talking about that thing that lights you up and your friends tell you that, oh my God, look at you, you're shining, you're lighting up, your eyes are speaking for themselves. And so when you're connected that much to your message and to your purpose and to whatever you are sharing, that speaks louder than whatever you are saying. That light and that energy. So it doesn't require any preparation. And when you know whatever you are talking about, and when you've done it once or twice or 3 or 4 or 5, you don't need to prepare much. You just get up, you speak, you share your message, and then you get off. So I would, yeah.
Amazing to hear. What would you do, Noah? Would you say yes as well, or maybe you'd have a different approach to?
I would. I think it would be very interesting to present a 20-minute keynote speech in a 2-hour presentation, just because you can add a lot of fluff to it. When it's a 20-minute keynote speech, it's bam, 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 information, speech is done. Where are the stories? Where are the examples? Where are the problem solutions, the anecdotes? Where are the dramatic pauses, right? Where's the audience engagement? you can take the time to actually ask your audience, okay, by show of hand, who agrees with this? People would raise their hands. Okay, who agrees with that? And then you can start developing on that and just create a whole different level in terms of speech, just because you have more time to engage with your audience and make the speech a lot more impressive and detailed in a sense. So I think I would as well. Yeah, for sure.
That's great as well to hear. I mean, you've got to challenge yourself. You got to, step towards it, not run away from it, right? We still have, I'm not sure we have a lot of time. Guys, are you, the audience, are you guys enjoying this? Are you guys finding this valuable? Let me know in the chat, by the way, please, just to keep you engaged a little bit. So I still have 2 more questions. Maybe we can go through them. I'm not sure how much time we have left, but the first one is, what are the biggest challenges that you guys are facing today? So yes, you had that challenge at first, but then today, I mean, every speaker, no matter how advanced they are, they still face challenges. They still have to grow through them. And so what do you think is the biggest challenge that you are facing today? And what are you doing to move above it, in a sense, to remove that obstacle? Noah? It's okay, we'll take
the one thing that money can't buy, it's time. Time is the biggest issue. If I had 50 hours in a day, I would much prefer that. There will be a lot more time, just because I have several businesses that I'm working on. I have a lot of work that I'm involved in. And as much as I'd wish to have the time to work on public speaking more, time is and remains to be the biggest issue. Until further notice, until the businesses are automated to the point where I would have more time to work on public speaking, invest more time into it, that remains the biggest obstacle. Back to you.
And so basically what you're doing is you're trying to offset that by automating things. I saw the timer, Ria, but I'm just going to take 2 more minutes. It's fine. It's within the slot as well. So Maria, what do you think about that?
I think the hardest thing for me is learning how not to go by the book of how things should be, but to just be myself. Because sometimes, and this is super important in public speaking, where when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you allow yourself to connect with your audience more, instead of, just being, okay, I need to walk like this, talk like this, be like that. So it's just reconnecting more with myself. And definitely another thing that is a challenge is whatever is happening in Lebanon, because I am in Lebanon, and every time I go abroad, opportunities are like everywhere, but every time I come back here, it's like, what's happening? I'm someone who doesn't who always seeks out opportunity, and I create my own opportunities, but it definitely makes it harder to get there. So this is definitely a challenge that I'm facing.
Right. Well, thank you both for your valuable insight. We're just going to conclude by maybe one sentence or one thing that someone can do. So if someone wants to unlock their full potential today, in one sentence or in one thing, what is it that thing that they should do? Just one thing, because we barely have more time. What do you think, Maria? What is that one thing? If someone wants to unlock their full potential today, what do they have to do in one sentence?
Okay. This is literally what I do. My motto is I light up the fire within people and then drive them to their full potential. So one thing that I would say is that I would ask them, what makes you feel most alive and what lights you up the most? Go and do more of that.
All right, that's amazing. How about you, Noah?
Realize your vision, burn the ships, and go to war against the man in the mirror.
No plan Bs, huh? All right. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Yeah, I think I disconnected for a bit. It's fine. Guys, we're gonna take maybe 2-3 questions. If you guys can ask them very fast. So what questions do you guys have? So Muhammad Awaini said there's this urge to go up and talk, right? This passion, but at the same time there's a pressure and there's some anxiety that you face that holds you down, and that is the problem. So maybe he's asking, where should you start? So where should you start in that case? You're very passionate, you want to go talk, but you're also pressured and you're anxious about that. Maria, what do you think about that? What should Muhammad do?
I think that the anxiety and the pressure are the result, they're not the cause of why he's not going up to talk. Hamad, I think it's good to ask yourself, where is this coming from? And where is the anxiety and the pressure coming from? What does that say about you if you get up and talk? What are you truly afraid of? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of judgment? Are you afraid of not being good enough? What is that inner fear that you have? And try to self-reflect on that and ask yourself those questions. I'm trying to keep my answer as short as possible because this is something to explore. Like it's a journey on its own. But definitely
Sure.
start by seeing it as the surface and not the deep core of why you're not getting up, and start to explore, what's underneath that layer of anxiety and pressure, to get to know yourself more and why you act the way that you do. Noah, if you want to add anything.
I think questioning your anxiety is very important. Asking yourself one simple question: what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? People are not going to like it. So what? They can leave the room. That's it. There's nothing there. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. If anything, you're going to get more comfortable with it. And sooner or later, you'll have the confidence to get up and talk whenever you feel like it.
So basically just face it as is. Let's go. So we have Muhammad Attar. Okay. Muhammad Attar has a question. So the question is, what do you think you need to improve to reach to that next level? Right. So I guess he's coming from a place where he already is practicing public speaking. He already is doing public speaking, but he wants to reach that next level. So what would you have to do in order to do that? Noah, would you like to comment on that first?
Sure. One piece of advice, I think I briefly mentioned it earlier. Go on YouTube, explore some of the best speakers in the world, and pick the top 3 that you like. You like their speaking style, you like their vocal variety style and all that. Pick 3 and literally take 5 of each of their speeches, memorize it and repeat it, and try to repeat it as they're saying it to kind of soak in their style a little bit. This will help you in ways I cannot explain. You'll be repeating and reiterating some of the best speakers in the world. And I think that's the best thing we can do.
All right. Thank you for that answer. Maria, what do you have to say?
I'd say first you need to know what is the next level, where do you want to get? And something that I use, an approach that I use, it's not going towards that thing, but bringing that thing to me. Who is that person that's in that next level? How does that person talk? How does that person walk? How does that person behave? Who is that? I start to become that person from now. I don't wait until I become that person later. So when you start doing that every single day, one day you're gonna wake up and you're that. It's study that next level so much that you know how to be that person without even thinking about it.
So I think so basically between both of your answers, between imitation and visualization, you're going to find that right place, that right vision, and then move forward. I love both of these answers. I do have a question as well from Muhammad Mumi. So he said he has trouble finding content to create, or finding a story to talk about. So perhaps he loves public speaking, but it's the fact that he can't really find content. Like, he doesn't know what to talk about. I mean, I'm sure that's something that I used to have as well. It's a problem that I used to have, or think I had. What do you guys think about that? Like, what's the best way to create content? Madia?
So the question was, what was the best way to create content?
Yeah, basically, I mean, basically, yeah. So technically, I would say a lot of people say that they love public speaking, right? That they're very passionate about it. But their problem is that they don't know what to talk about when they're on stage or when they want to talk. What would you do in that case? Like, how would you find something to talk about? And I think you're really
I think there's no right or wrong. Like there is no it's right to talk about this, it's strong to talk about that. What is something that you're passionate about? What is something that you have experience in? What is something that you want to share to other people? What are you an expert at? It could be anything, and you will find an audience for that. And the smaller the audience, the better it is, by the way. So if you want to talk about car toys, If you think that, oh, but the audience is going to be too small, but that's better for you. Business-wise, that's much better for you. That's a smaller niche. So what do you love? What are you passionate about? Go out there and speak your truth and just be yourself. There's no right or wrong, or you need to talk about this just because that person's talking about that. That person's playing their game. You need to play your own game, not another person's game.
Makes a lot of sense, by the way. So
I think that's
no,
very
maybe
true.
you have a different approach because you create a lot of freaking content, man. I've seen what you've seen. Both of you actually, like, both of you have a big following online. So, so what would you do differently, perhaps?
I just shared a link with everybody on the chat. I believe prepared speeches are table topic questions that are more elaborate. If I come to anybody who's saying I'm struggling with finding content and I say, okay, you're going to be table topics master, you got to find topics for 4 people to discuss, they will be able to find 4 very interesting questions. And if not, that's a list of 365 different questions. All you need to do is pick one of them and develop a speech based on it. If it's your passion and it's part of your field of expertise, it's a lot better because you'll be able to add more value. But literally pick a topic, run with it, get your repetition, get your practice in, and you'll get better as you go.
Oh, all right. I love these both as well. Like the amazing, it's an amazing insight that we're gaining today. So I want to thank both of you. And there's I think we're almost on time. So let's just conclude with that one last question. All right. The question is, say you just prepared a speech, right? So what are some tips to prepare a speech, perhaps the delivery of it or the speech itself, coming from a person that isn't confident with memorizing, right? Well, how would you approach that? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And Noah, would you like to answer that, or Maria? It doesn't really matter who starts first.
Yeah.
No.
Ladies first, please.
Ladies first. Go on, let's go.
Okay. So for someone who isn't comfortable memorizing, please don't ever memorize a speech. Like I don't know if what you guys talk about, but don't memorize a speech, because if you forget one line, you're gonna start oh shit, I forgot that line. Nobody knows the information that you did not say. They don't know that you were supposed to say those. So for me, when it comes to preparing a speech, just know what do you want to talk about. One, what are the main points that you want to be mentioning? What are some stories you want to share within those points? Have those stories ready. And what is one, do you want to insert an exercise? Do you want them to be doing something? Do you want them to do you want to open floor for discussion or for sharing an experience or something like that? So don't make it a talk. If you want to impact through your talk, make it an experience. So when you want to make it an experience, you want to make them feel something. You want to make them go through something. So what emotions are you going to inducing, and what's going to induce those emotions? That's why there are stories, there are sharing, there are things like that. So, and when you don't memorize a speech, you leave room for you to be yourself.
Yes, 100%. I mean, it would sound a lot more natural as well. So now, what do you think, Noah, of that? Do you have something to add on that as well?
I think what Maria said is very true. If you try to memorize a speech, if you forget not only one line, if you forget one word, you're going to go blank, and everything that comes after it is just going to be, it's going to vanish in thin air. You're not going to remember any of it. And it's going to be very hard because you're going to start getting anxious trying to remember it, and that's going to make it even worse. So best thing to do, if we have a conversation about any topic, you're going to be able to talk about it for several minutes. Do the same. All you need to do is master how storytelling works. There's a very interesting concept called the angel's cocktail. I'm going to share a link right after I'm done. It's basically a mix of emotions that you want your audience to feel. And whatever story you're trying to portray to them, if you use that structure, they will find it enticing. The angel's cocktail starts with first dopamine, using a hook. Dopamine is the main hormone responsible for our sense of motivation and sense of attention. If you hit them with a hook, saying, for example, I'm going to tell you the biggest lie ever in history, everybody's going to be like, oh, what is it, right? Because it's exciting. It raises the dopamine level inside people's systems. But then you want to break the tension. You want to introduce endorphins. That's when you introduce a little bit of humor, kind of ease the tension down a bit. End it with oxytocin. Oxytocin is the hormone that's responsible for social bond, trust, love. End it with something related, with something that the audience can relate to. if you implement that methodology into each and every story that you tell naturally without having to memorize it, you're going to present a phenomenal speech without even having to prepare for it. Back to you, Muhammad.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Maria, as well. I want to thank both of our panelists today. I hope you guys, the people listening, that you guys had a lot of value, a lot of good insight to learn from. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, that's the most important thing. Again, I want to extend my thanks to both of you guys. We do still have a lot of questions, but there's no time, unfortunately, to answer all of them. You guys are welcome to stay. We're still going to have the table topics next. So I want to thank everyone again. And hopefully, we're going to do this again, hopefully, right? Because that's not the end, that's just the start. And that's perhaps one of the lessons that I learned as a speaker. There's always that step that you can take forward as well. So thanks again, everyone, and let's go. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Muhammad. Informative and okay, it was an amazing session. I personally enjoyed it. I would give it a 10. Honestly, I would give it a 10. I would like to thank, and speaking as Roland, as Mercury Toastmaster, we thank you, Maria and Noah, for your participation today. It was an amazing session. I was flabbergasted with your answers. Muhammad, thank you for arranging this project. You're an amazing person and absolutely a great leader. Now, I would like to ask our timer to time us 2 minutes. Because I will be sending, I sent it. This is a feedback form. Please click on it and write some feedback to Muhammad on areas you think he did well and on areas you think he should be improving. Ria, please time us 2 minutes.
Guys, if Noah and sorry for interrupting, if Noah and Maria, can you guys share your links if someone wants to DM you as well in the chat? Somebody wants to reach out.
All right, the 2 minutes are up. All right, now, as you know, the previous session was an amazing orientational session and it was fun. But talking about what is fun, table topics take the first prize. Let me explain quickly what table topics is. Table topics is a person who's named table topics master, has prepared some questions, and will be asking these questions in a random picking. As I am the table topics master, prepared some questions. Before starting this session, I will tell you how will this go. I will be reading the question, all right? I will be reading the question, putting it in the chat box, and before starting, I would like to give some tips. At the beginning, please answering any question. Any question is an intro, a body, and a conclusion. So try to arrange it in this form. And third, just start with the first idea, and believe me, the flow of ideas will go on as you speak. All right? I hope these tips really helped you, and let this session begin. My first question for you guys, ladies and gents, is, and I'm gonna put it in the chat box. What's the one downside of the modern day world? And I would like to ask Rima, would you like to answer this question? Can you unmute yourself?
What are the timings for the table topics?
Yeah, no, it's okay. Hi.
Just before we proceed with Rima, the timings are, I'm gonna do that, Leah. The timings for the table topics for guests, it is 30 seconds. I hope that you can see me. 30 seconds, showing background will show up at 1 minute 30 seconds, and the red background will show up at 2 minutes. For guests, it will be 1 minute, the green background, 1 minute 30, the yellow background, and 2 minutes, the red background. I'm sorry, Ria, I took your place right here. But yeah, Rima, I will repeat the question to you. What's one downside of the modern day world?
I don't have a good connection today, so I heard half of the question. I'm sorry. What one downside? It's written in the chat. Wow. Somebody like me. I am an old-fashioned lady, and I am always running behind all what is modern, the technology, IT systems, and all the new things that happen. I think it's what you mean by your question. So I find it very difficult for those who were born without needing the technology to get used to the technology when they are older. And it's a very big dilemma for me when I have to do things for not my work, because I don't have that needs for my work. But for Toastmasters, I try always to do my best for the hybrid meetings, for the online meetings, for the Zoom techniques and so on, but I always fail. It's not my cup of tea, as I say always. I try my best, but here I am, an old-fashioned lady. I like writing, I like reading, and I like papers. And I don't use my phone to pay my bills, and I don't use my phone to do things like everybody does. I cannot get used to it. So that's why I am the one downside, I think, of the modern day world. Thanks.
I truly believe that you are one of the loveliest persons in this world. Anyway, thank you for participation, Rima. Our next question is this one. What was the last thing you furiously argued about with someone? What was the last thing you furiously argued about with someone? For this question, I'm gonna ask Noah. Would you like to participate?
Okay, 1 second. Whew, good question. The biggest, it was actually during a Toastmasters meeting yesterday. And it's what's the biggest problem in our society And I believe it's the lack of sustainability in everything. And the person was saying that basically, no, our society has norms that are pretty sustainable, X, Y, and Z. And I said, no, it doesn't. The way that we consume food is not sustainable. The way that we communicate digitally and the way that the pandemic turned the communication into almost fully digital is not sustainable. Nothing that's currently happening in the world is sustainable. That was basically the most furious argument that I had with someone yesterday. And we were going back and forth on this basically during table topics. And we came up to the conclusion at the end of the day, and I asked him several questions. Do you think that fossil fuels are sustainable? No. Do you think that the current, hydro system is sustainable? No. Do you think the food supply is sustainable? No, no, no. After 10 no's, and I'm like, do we now have an answer? And they said yes, and that was the end of the argument. Back to you, Mr. Table Talks Master.
No wonder that you won the championship of public speaking, Noah. Thank you so much for participating. Third question. If you wanted to create your own business, what would it be? If you wanted to create your own business, what would it be? And this question goes to Rola. Rola, would you like to participate? I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Thank you so much, Roland. This is a very interesting question. So I'm currently working as an energy and environmental consultant. So I do some studies and research on sustainability, climate change. And this question, like what would be the own business that I would be interested in is definitely it's related to sustainability. And the other thing is to mentor more people, and especially the young generation, on the importance of sustainability and how they can be an active person, and protecting the environment, and how, we can start from the kids at school, or having like environmental or sustainable club at school and then university, and they start to educate their parents. And so this is the one that I hope, like I have to put a more plan, for it to have this kind of business, but there are other priorities at the current time for me that, forbid me from going to that business, but yeah, it's on my to-do list and things that, yeah. And of course, there are other things that I dream of. So I can share it now with you guys. But the most important thing that I would like also to add to what you had, discussed today, is that I always say, if you have a will, you will find a way. And public speaking, like, it's not easy for anyone. It starts probably, some people, they have it as charismatic. They have it as, I know some people, they have it from their parents. They got it from their parents, or they have it from, it's by heredity, but it's a skill that you can, work on. And by time you will master such skill. I know, like many people, they would fear going on stage. Like, honestly, the first time I remember I had to have a presentation in front of 500 people. So, wow, 500 people. And you have to have a topic which is very scientific, and to have to simplify to the audience, please. So I think the most important thing is to know your audience and have the information that is really needed, and say it in a way that you combine the data with the science and the research, and also have more, suitable, to their importance, or like kind of like not prior to, but at least you have to grab their attention. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Can you? Yeah, you can. I guess you can. Lovely participation, Roland. Thank you so much. And next question will be, just a second, I'm copying it right now. All right, the question says, how would an extra $1,000 a month change your life? How would an extra $1,000 a month change your life? This question goes to Reem. Reem, would you like to participate?
Yes, I would, but this question is a bit hard.
That's the beauty of it. Let's give it a shot. Bear in mind that you will get supportive feedback. We all here support you. I'm gonna repeat the tips. Take a deep breath. Start with the first idea. Believe me, the flow of ideas will go on as you speak, and we are all here to support you. Go on.
Okay, I would invest it in my health definitely because it's something that I'm really trying to work on. But definitely invest it in my health. Maybe try to adapt my lifestyle, my home, the way I live, to try and use these for my health. It's something that's really a priority for me. And I see, as a nurse, I see a lot of people not taking care of their health and ruining their lives, with their own hands, with their own actions. So I would really want to take care of my health and wellness and to live happily.
I think that's a great answer. I think that's a great investment. And it goes to the debate of wealth and health, and you've got it 100% correct. Thank you for participation, Reem. Next question is, what have you read online or offline? It doesn't matter. What have you read that inspired you? I want to ask this question to Maria.
What have I read that inspired me?
Yeah.
Okay. There's something that Dr. Srikumar Rao once said that stuck with me, and that still sticks till today. It's, you don't have to explain it, just experience it. And so when we get overwhelmed and when we don't know what to do, how to do that, what should we do next, where should we be, you don't have to explain it. You don't have to know how, where, what, and when. Just experience it. Experience the emotions that you feel in the moment and be present, because the biggest amount of opportunities lie in the present moment. And every time we live in the future, we miss out on all the opportunities that the present moment is bringing us. So we don't have to know all the answers.
Fair enough. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Let's go with the last question. That is, on what would you choose to spend the most on using your unlimited credit card? Okay, so it could be an object, a service, anything.
Can I cut you off for just 1 second, Roland?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, apologies, just because I think Maria needs to go. Right. So thank you, Maria. Don't feel pressured to stay
So
here.
much for having me. Thank you. It was such a pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your
I'm sorry,
participation.
I have to go because I have a session in 10 minutes. So just to be, ready for it.
Feel free to be you. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. All right. I'm going to send the question again. On what would you choose to spend the most on using your unlimited credit card? And since Muhammad just spoke, Muhammad, you've earned the question. You're muted, Muhammad. Muhammad, you're muted.
All right. Should work right now.
Yeah.
Right. Is it working? Okay, great. Listen, this is a very, very interesting question. I just read it and a bulb clicked in my hand, a light clicked in my head, right? Look, there are so many things that we as humans want in our lives. So many things. We want to be materialistic. We want a new car. We want a new watch. We want to have that big mansion. Shouldn't be. We want to travel all around the world. We want to do things, touch things, feel things. And there's no shortage of money, to be honest, in this world. For me to feel at least obligated to want to spend so much money on that kind of stuff. What I would actually spend money on, it's knowledge. I would buy all the books. I would spend a lot on research that would help me expand my mind. It will help me use whatever it is that we have in here and enhance that ability 100 times. That's what I would spend my money on. I would spend it on experiences that are going to help me grow and find new things, discover new things. Heck, I would even help Elon Musk, perhaps, go and land on Mars. I would love that. I mean, it's those things that I think I would spend the money on. It's the books, it's the knowledge, it's that different dimension. So thank you for the question.
Make sure when you're going for this shopping, make sure to take my credit card as well, man, please. All right, we have the final question. That is, okay, wait. All right. The last question of today's table topic session is, what is your greatest skill? What is your greatest skill? I would love to ask this question to Mahmoud Qasim.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hope you're all
ma'am.
having a good day. Good evening. First of all, I would like to go back to the first question that Muhammad has answered about the knowledge. I totally agree with him, but I would say I would spend all the money on the knowledge for everyone. Like if we spend the whole money on like the population, we will end the war. We end the global warming we're having. We will end poverty and so on. So basically, I wouldn't only spend it on me. I would spend the whole education system in the world. That's one. For my greatest skill, I'm not really sure, but I'm actually now trying to discover myself. Like since I'm like from I would say it, like I've been like in really hard background, like so I'm trying to discover myself right now. So I don't really know what's my greatest skill right now. So yeah, that's what I would say. So
lovely. And guess what? Toastmasters is the first and the best place to start with. You might, who knows, it might be public speaking. So thank you for participation, Mahmoud. With that being said, we have come to the end of this session, of the table topic session. Big thanks to everyone who participated. And now I'm gonna take my role back, which is the TME, the Toastmaster of the evening. And I would like to ask our timer to time 2 minutes to give feedback for me when I ask the question and to vote for the best table topics answer. All right, I'm gonna send the feedback and the voting link right now. That's it. Just give me a second. Just before Ria, did all of our speakers made it on time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Roland.
Yeah, I was gonna, yeah, please.
Sorry again for interrupting you, but Noah needs to go as well. So, because he has some shows. So thank you, Noah. And thank you
for having me, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you so much, Noah.
Great night.
Great night. Bye-bye.
Sorry, I cut you out twice today. So
no. I actually wanted to give you the floor. I felt you wanted to say something, so no, it was okay. Now, the third section of this meeting has come, and that is the evaluation. For this section, we have our professional evaluator, Muhammad Al-Attar. As you can see, okay, Muhammad, we can see you. Muhammad, you can lead this session. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Roland. I'm not basically a professional evaluator, but I have been in Toastmasters enough in order to give a proper evaluation. But before I start with that, I would like to call on Suraya Nasser to give her evaluation on Muhammad's work. And please, Suraya, please give us your evaluation.
Suraya, you're muted. Or not, you're not muted, but we can't hear you. No, we can't. I say you unplug the headphones. No.
Test.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. Muhammad, first of all, thank you so much for this very interesting session. You did a wonderful job. I have to say something before this session. When I said to Roland that this panel will be 30 minutes, he freaked out because he thought like 30 minutes is so long. But I assured him that this will be interesting, and you did not fail me. You delivered a wonderful session. It was very interesting, very engaging. But here at Toastmasters, we love evaluation because that's the only way we can improve ourselves. And that's why I will be giving you some feedback today on how you delivered this panel discussion. I will focus on two sections. First, I will talk about the content of your panel in terms of content, and then we will talk a little bit about the delivery. And finally, I will give a few recommendations for improvement. Okay, let's start. First, in the beginning of the panel discussion, you started off with a little icebreaker, which is very good since we have a very large audience, and a lot of them actually don't know Toastmasters, and they don't know what to expect. So this icebreaker set the tone and the mood of the panel discussion that we were about to have. Then you moved on to introduce the panel. Like, what is the topic? You did a wonderful job doing that. First, by introducing the topic in a very smooth way, by linking it to the icebreaker, and then moving on to introduce the panelists in a very professional and exciting way for us. Now, moving on to the questions. I will go on over each question because each question you kind of used the approach of using chronological order somehow by starting at the very beginning and then moving on to the end. I will demonstrate how. You started off with the first question, which was how many paths can you start and how did you start? This question served like a purpose to show us that there are public speaking is for everyone. It's for introverts, it's for extroverts. So you were kind of inclusive to everyone, and you engaged all of the audience, regardless whether they're introverts or extroverts, and made them relate to what they're about to do. So this was like the audience attractor. You got their attention. Next, you moved on to what is that one thing that held you back. Here, you started to tackle the fears that people have when they want to start their career as public speakers. And each of the panelists gave their own insight about this, which is very important because before we become public speakers, there are certain barriers that stop us. I know I'm running out of time, Ria, but bear with me. I will exceed time now. Moving on to the third question, which was, how did you capitalize on public speaking and what tip would you give them? That is when you started to get information from the panelists about how they started to make profit and how did public speaking help them get money and more success in their career. Then you twisted the panel discussion with a challenge, and you gave them a scenario where they would answer it, and that is to show people that some people actually, after a certain level of practice, they can get to the point where they would actually give a speech even if it was short notice. So this was to show them the excitement that those two speakers have. And finally, the biggest challenge that you are facing today, and I think because nothing is perfect and everyone faces a challenge, but most important thing was to demonstrate for the people that it is important, like everyone faces challenges, but it's important to find a way to get over them. Now, talking about the preparation, personally, I witnessed a lot of this preparation before the meeting. So you had, even though it was few days of preparation, but you focused on quality instead of quantity. You prepared a lot within this short period of time and you delivered something very professional. So congratulations. In terms of leading the session, you were very smooth. You had both panelists and you had the panel under control, alternating between both speakers, and even in the Q&A section, it was very smooth. Now, in terms of your delivery, you took a moment in the beginning to make sure that everyone saw the speakers, you spotlighted them, and the position of you guys was relatively good within the frame. Everyone can see you, everyone can hear you. So this is also very good. Now, I would like to ask you for one point of improvement here, because everyone can improve. I really was waiting for the moment that you asked more questions, but how more questions based on their answers. So I wanted to see the devil's advocate, like maybe try to come up with a question on the spot based on what stories they shared or certain ideas that they explained. For example, when they talked about how did you adapt to, in COVID, you could have asked some questions maybe to go into their detailed, like some examples about how one challenges they face, how did they overcome them. So there was a lot of room for more questions out of what they had to say. And this is important because as a panel moderator, you have to somehow have this dynamic element in the panel, which is not prepared. So this would be for the point of improvement. Personally, I really loved this session, but I think this is the thing that you could work on for next time. And I personally would watch this again if you were to do it again and again and again. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much, Muhammad, and back to you, General Evaluator Muhammad. From Muhammad to Muhammad. Muhammad, are you with us?
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes? Okay, it was a very long meeting. I really enjoyed it. It was something new to Mercury. And the experience I got today really made me think. And I'm personally going to change a lot of stuff and try to take one of their advices to actually listen to speeches and try to imitate them. So my evaluation is going to be very fast. I know everyone is tired, but evaluation is a very important part of Mercury, very important part of Toastmasters. So for Roland, you start as an SAA. It's always nice to see a friendly face. You stated the general rules, and you welcomed everyone. For Thuraya, as usual, it's I always appreciate how you always start with the story. It makes the overall atmosphere relatable. You explained thoroughly about Toastmasters and gave enough information for any possible questions new members, new guests might have. table for Roland, Toastmasters of the evening. You gave segments about the meeting and you went through the agenda. You introduced the role takers. You gave us hints on how the meeting will be monitored. You were great. Timer, Ria, it was a very fast. Ria, you stated the rules, everything was okay, but it was a little bit too fast. For next time, I would suggest that you just try to take a breath and just state the rules. And always before each session, it's better to call on Timer, Ria, and tell her, or call on the timer generally and tell him to give the timing rules, especially before table topics. Roland Toastmasters, even in table topics, is that you gave us good points on our tips on how to answer and what should we do. And the questions are general, are easy, so that would really make people want to participate. Now, for the table topics, I'm going to just give general rules because everyone, because we have like a lot of people who have participated, Rima, Noah, Muhammad, so on. The thing is, I want you to focus on is, first of all, the table topics is an impromptu session. It's not easy. I want you to take your time before your answer. Give yourself enough 5 to 7 seconds. We still have members who find it difficult, but they are getting better with time, with a lot of practice. You need to try to focus on one point or one answer and try to develop on it and try to explain on it. Table topics is not an easy skill. It's not an easy thing you need to do in Toastmasters, but with enough practice, you will find yourself being more confident when you answer, and it would help you organize your thoughts. The thing is, you need to participate. You need to don't say I'm scared. Don't say people might say something. You are here to practice. You are here to make mistakes, and you are here to become better. So generally, this is what I have to say. I need to thank you all for coming today, and I really love this session. Back to you, Roland.
Thank you so much for your event. Now, as you all know, 3 seconds will pass. It was really quick because that was an amazing to send the link. Let me find the link. Just give me a second. And here's the link. I found the link. All right. This link is for you to click on and to write a feedback for the evaluation that Muhammad gave. You could mention some points to improve, some points he mentioned very well. Please, Ria, time us 1 minute. All right. Now, the voting that you have voted, it has a result. And our lovely Thuraya will be sharing the result while I will be announcing the winners. Who's ready? Before sharing the results, show me some excitement, some drum rolls. Let's go, Thuraya.
Okay, just give me 1 minute. 1 minute.
For sure. As president, you got the privilege to pass time and to do whatever you want. I'm just kidding.
Everyone's treated equally here. Okay, I will share my screen now. And actually, we have a tie. So I was excited for the tie.
We're all excited. Lovely. The best table of topics is none other than Muhammad Khalaf.
Our second tie is Noah. And we still have one more tie. Who do you think it is? It's actually Mahmoud. Ah, internet is lagging. Oh my God. So the third award is for Mahmoud. Congratulations all. This is just to keep some healthy competition. And I think Roland is frozen. So I think I will take control over the meeting. Are you back, Roland? No. Okay. So before we wrap up, I just want to make a few announcements before we end the meeting and we go to our after party if anyone wants to have any questions. First, we have an area outing in September. It will be a stargazing in Baskinta, and our he's no longer here. Okay, so mainly the area of Toastmasters Lebanon will be organizing a trip where we will camp and stargaze. It's going to be very interesting. So maybe you should get excited like I am, because I like going to camps. And second, if you are interested in a role, sign up for our next meeting and let me know which roles you're interested in so we can book them for you. Now, I would like to hear from our guests to see what they have